Hello everybody, this is Fleming from CON.EX and Fitness for Life, and welcome to this review of our exercises for this Saturday's morning live training, so that you can prep a bit in advance, look them over, and have a bit of know-how on what we're going to be doing tomorrow if you're going to joining us online. Today we're filming from our little farm out in the barn. This is where I do most of my workouts at home. Air is fantastic, sun is out, it's a beautiful day on the country. You should be here, but you're with us in thought and in action soon here with the exercises. But without further ado, I'll go straight to the exercises. The first exercise we're going to be doing is what we call a pull plank, which is basically a pull up on the floor. We can work on some of the same mechanics. So start by sitting back as far as you can. Make sure that it's not hurting your knee or anything. Put an extra mat on the floor if you need be, and put the top of the foot in the ground here. So the first thing we're going to do is, as I'm sitting back, I'm pulling myself back. I'm trying to tuck my tailbone underneath so I get that core activation. And I'm pressing my hands into the ground, and I'm going to pull my shoulder blades apart. So that press down, pulling my shoulder blades apart, that's the first action. You should feel tension underneath your shoulder, and then you're going to pull your elbows down towards the floor, and you're going to pull yourself forward. And it's a pull forward, so try not to push with your hip, but pull yourself forward with the arms. On the first level here, we're going to keep the elbows in. I'm going to focus on that tuck underneath with my pelvic, and it's pushing back, pulling in underneath, and pull forward. So that's the first level. From there we can progress up to the next level, where we're going to have our elbows coming up to our rib cage. So as I'm still doing the same to start off with, pressing my hands in, pulling my shoulder blades apart, elbows down, and then as my shoulder and elbow are above each other, I can lift my elbows off the floor, keep pulling myself forward, and keep that tuck underneath, and push back. Be careful when you go back not to lose that pelvic tilt and that core activation. So you start arching your back, lifting your head up. Try to tuck your chin towards your chest, and then tuck that tailbone underneath. You can increase that level a bit. So as I'm pulling forward and I'm in my final destination here, I can push my top of my foot in and lift my knees off the ground, pull my knees down, and push back again. So that's testing my core strength and my core activation in that final. If you have a really good day and you feel on top of the world, then you can lift your knees off altogether. So now I'm putting my toes in instead. I'm pushing back on my arms, and I'm keeping that pelvic tuck, lifting my knees off and pulling myself forward, keeping my knees off, keeping that pelvic tuck, and pushing back. And then I can regress down through the levels if I fatigue or I start feeling pain, aches or pain, or my technique is not as good as it could be. Always technique first, safety first in these exercises. So that's the first exercise. The second exercise is what we call a floor pull to squat. So now I'm going to have a press down with my hands, and then I'm going to pull them towards my knees. And as I do that, and I keep working on that pelvic tuck that we had in the pull plank, then my feet are going to magically lift off the ground, and I'm going to end up in a squat position.
We love magic.
So, to start off with, in this exercise, my arms are straight all the time. So I'm going to press my hands into the ground, and I'm going to keep pressing them down, and I'm going to pull my hands towards my knees. So I'm going to go up on all fours, and to start off with, the first level, as I'm keep pulling with my hands, I lift one leg up, the foot up almost close to my hand. Then the other one, I'm still keeping hands in contact with the floor, and then I can squat up. Squatting down, one leg back at a time, slowly down on the knees so we don't hurt our knees, and then backing down. Now if I can increase this a bit, then I'm going to keep that pressure down. I'm going to work a little bit more with pulling underneath of my pelvic, and then both legs are going to come up at the same time. So again, squeeze in with the hands, pulling myself up, and then my feet are going to magically come up next to my hands, and then I can squat up again, still walk it down, and then I can get both feet back at the same time. So now I'm going to keep that pressure down on my hand, still keeping that core activation, so the landing is nice and soft. And then the next level, I can put on a jump when I squat up. So I'm going to press in, and make sure when I land softly and not with that pressure up against or landing on muscle tissue, breaking down that fall so it's nice and safe. And then I can again walk back with both feet. If you have a little bit of trouble with your wrist, or you feel any range of motion, it's not that good, you can take a chair and then do the same levels. Pressing in, one foot up, squatting up, down, or both feet up at the same time. Here I wouldn't jump because knees in the chair is not that good. It's not a nice sensation anyway. But again, make sure that it's safe what you do and find the level that you feel suits you today. And then we can always progress as we get more comfortable in the exercises. Then we have exercise number 3. 3 is what we call our mountain climber. Get up. And on this we're going to start in a hollow body position. So to get that position going, I'm going to pull my shoulder blades down towards my back, and I'm going to press my hands in. I'm going to tuck that pelvic underneath, one leg straight first and then the other one straight. So here I have my hollow body position, keep that tension on my shoulders. Then I'm going to pull one leg up, and this time I want it out on the outside on my hand, so my knee and shoulders in contact, keeping tension on that back leg. Then I'm going to push the front leg into the ground and push my hip up and forward, making sure that I keep that core tight so that my upper body's coming up straight away. I'm going straight back down again, keeping load on this front leg, sitting back down into my hollow body. Opposite foot up, pushing the foot, or pushing the earth away, hip up. I'm not really using that back leg. Here it can be just a support for balance. Make sure that my balance is good before I go back. If I have a hard time getting my foot all the way up, so my hip mobility might be like this, then I'll stay on my knees and get that foot up first. And it doesn't matter, here I can lift my hands off the floor to get the foot up, put my hands in, and then I can push up. Or, if need be, you can use the chair again, so I can keep that tension around my shoulder, foot up, again pressing up with my foot down into the ground, hip up so I get that glute to fire. I'm not locking my knee as I'm coming up, I'm focusing on my hip pushing my up and forward. Down, back, foot up, and pushing back up. It's easier on the wrists, and it helps my hip mobility as well. Then we have the next exercise, which is sit-through. And on our sit-throughs, we're going to go back on the floor again. And when I start off this exercise, I'm going to push back with my hands so that my hands are in front of my shoulders. Shoulders are down and back. This is going to take the tension off my wrist. I'm going to squeeze my fingers into the ground so I'm gripping the floor with my hand. And here I'm going to lift my knees off the floor. Keep pushing back. And then I'm going to rotate over to one side. Making sure there's no real tension on this knee. I'm on the ball of my foot, the heel is up so I can rotate. I can put a little bit of pressure on this leg to help the shoulder, but keeping that shoulder down, packed, shoulder tucked underneath. And then I'm going to pull myself back in and over here. Again, notice that I'm pushing back on my arm. I'm not hanging on top of my arm, but I keep that push back. And I can increase that by straightening that back leg. If you were on the last episode, then we had this with a squat up, back in, out to the side. Show you guys from the front here, so pushing back. Now if you have a hard time doing this, or you find your wrists are hurting, shoulders might be hurting on the rotation, we go down to a leg thread instead. Here I'm on my elbows, one leg back, the other leg back, keeping that tuck underneath, that pulling around the shoulders. And I'm going to pull my knee up to the opposite elbow. So I have a little bit of the same rotation as in the sit-through, but it's a lot less strengthful for the shoulders and wrist as well. And we still get that good core activation and start getting that movement pattern in. Then we have the last exercise, which is a screw push-up. And a screw push-up is like a semi one-arm push-up where we start working with pressure from our elbow and forearm and then out through the hand. So it's almost like you want to punch the ground away from you, but we'll show you when we come to the exercise here. So to start off with, on the screw push-up, I'm going to stay on my knees to start off with. I'm going to keep that tuck underneath. I'm going to pull my shoulders down and back, and I'm going to pull one elbow down towards the ground. So once my elbow's in, I'm still supporting with the other hand. Then I'm going to pull my shoulder down. And as I'm down on my shoulder, I still don't have my hip in the ground. I keep that tuck underneath so I don't let go in my core. And I'm going to roll back in under my forearms to start off with. This is the first level. I'm just ending on my forearms, and here I can press back up. So elbow down, shoulder down now, next close to the hand, and back in underneath. From there we can go up. I can push through my forearm and elbow, and then as I'm coming up, I'm going to straighten my arm. Down, pull myself down, in, and press up. And of course we can do this without being on our knees. So to start off with, balance is better if you have a little distance between your feet. So pulling yourself down, over, shoulder in, my hip is off, in, pushing up through the underarm first, and then back up. Forearm. If you start feeling that your hip is not there, or you're lifting one leg, go down on your knee. Make sure that your shoulders are down packed all the time, so you feel that connection down throughout your core. So this is the exercise we're going to be doing on a live show tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. Join us if you can, or use these exercises as inspiration for your training. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep moving out there. Take care.